My sister was really into like independent music, rock music, stuff like that. At a time when that wasn't really like a popular thing, she'd always be playing it a bunch, and so that really like caught my attention. Pretty much from there, I knew I wanted to play music, but I wasn't sure how, so literally just bought a bass guitar and an electric guitar. Taught myself how to play. I think it was hard for my parents to understand what I was doing. They didn't come in and watch me play. They knew that I was doing something that I loved, but they also saw that I didn't necessarily, for the first number of years, make hardly any money doing it. I think they definitely had vastly different ideas for what they were hoping I would do with my life. I think at the time they were disappointed, and I felt that, and I knew that, and that hurt a little. Oh, it's Germany as well. North Lincoln it kind of took off really quick right away, and people were really big fans of it right off the bat, so we just kept like playing shows and doing as much as we could, and before I knew it, I'd already dropped out of the idea of going to school and everything, and I was just fully committed to playing music. By the time I got to be about 2004 was probably when things started really ramping up pretty big. One of the things that made it hardest at the time when we really started taking off was just found out that we were pregnant, me and my girlfriend Rochelle, and basically was just kind of throwing the curve of like, okay, well, I'm trying to do this life of playing music, but on top of it now, I'm gonna have a kid at 23. And she was like, just get it out of your system and we'll just take it as it goes. And, she didn't really hinder me from wanting to go out there and still kind of fulfill that need and that dream of going out and playing. And so I was really thankful for that. It can be very glamorized, the thought of what we were doing. Looking back on it now, when people hear that you were in a band that used to tour a lot and everything, people grandize that and they think it's this like fun excursion where it's just like, nonstop hanging out and all kinds of fun. And it's not. It's really hard work, and it's really tiring, and it's really draining. Sleeping on floors, eating terrible food. It's hard. It was hard being away from my girlfriend and a relationship that I cared about, and then having a very young newborn daughter. All that stuff was hard. And even after we stopped being together and we're still on the road, you can't really sustain a relationship with anybody. It's hard to like meet someone and be like, oh, hey, cool. I really like you, but also now I'm going to be gone for 6 weeks.
It was yours and you just left it here, so I made it into a necklace so I was just going to wear around.
It made you kind of, depressed sometimes and lonely. It was a very lonely kind of life, being on the road. And then it was hard too because you don't see a lot of your family. You miss a lot of the family get-togethers. I missed Christmases. I missed Thanksgivings, all kinds of stuff. And then, even from the perspective of having a daughter, I wasn't there for any of the pregnancy. I wasn't there for first steps, first words. Sometimes I felt like I was a stranger that was playing the role of being a dad when I was actually home.
Not even one. Not even one.
That was a bummer feeling, but that's also how I was paying bills. My parents, I don't know if they were disappointed that I was touring even though I had a daughter, but they made it seem that way sometimes. But at the same time, also being there for me and us completely, because they watched Madeline sometimes 4 or 5 times a week for us while I'd be gone, and even while I was home. They may not have supported it, but at the same time, they were doing everything to support it by helping us, raise a daughter. By the time we got over to Europe for the first time, we had hit a stride and we'd had a name out. People were knowing more about us nationally. Our West Coast tours had been going a little bit better. Our Southern U.S. tours had been going. We'd done like a Canadian tour. I remember the first time that we found out that it was going to happen, just being absolutely incredibly excited and terrified because money was going to be tight, money was going to be poor. We did everything that we could. I sold stuff I owned, took every little weird job I could to save up money for plane tickets and stuff like that. Not knowing remotely what was going to happen, that's a big step. To go there and be like, we could be out of money in a matter of a couple days and be really screwed and have no clue how things are going to come together, all the while being thousands of miles away from home. Loaded everything up, flew to Europe illegally. We had passports, but we did not claim any of our merchandise. We did not tell them that we were a band. We didn't pay any taxes on any of our stuff. And our suitcases were stuffed front to back with all of our merchandise. And maybe 2 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of boxers, and like 2 t-shirts. You hoped maybe like once or twice a week you'd get to take a shower, but it was wild and it was so much fun. Oh man, meeting so many people and just being on like cultural overload. Also completely floored at the like humanity of people because we were getting so much support, not from like a fan standpoint or show standpoint, but people driving us, people putting us up for the night, people giving us food, people letting us use their equipment. You know, you really see the good in people around the world, and it's excited to see people excited that you were there and learn things about different cultures and see so many different places. But there was no amenities, there was no heat, there were no toilets. It's different cultures, it's different lives. And things were going really well. The band was doing really well. We're making good money. Shows were really big. By this point, I was the first one to say it. I was like, I think I'm done. You spend 10 years in a van with 2 other guys every day. It starts weighing on you, and we never fell out of love with one another. Like I still consider those guys brothers to this day. They're extremely close to me, even though we're all in separate parts of the country now. So when we get together and we start talking about some of that stuff, it just became clear. It was like, I don't want to hate you guys. I don't want to hate playing music. I don't want to have any negativity towards it. So maybe let's just stop.